Before we begin today's video, and I give you all the good news on this wet, overcast day here in good old Siem Reap, Cambodia, I just want to take a quick minute, as always, to say thank you to all my supporters and to let everybody know that I made some changes to my Patreon page specifically. If you donate monthly through PayPal or buymeacoffee.com, or even occasionally, those options are still available for you. You'll still receive all my exclusive content every week because you're on the list if you do those things. And if you haven't donated yet and you want to, those links are down below. So nothing will change in that regard. But to my PayPal, I decided to only have 3 tier options available, starting at just $5 a month. This ensures that your donations will get here monthly, consistently, and on time. And each tier is limited to only a certain amount of people. So the $5 and $10 a month tiers are limited to only 25 members per tier. Once we hit those numbers, those tiers will no longer be available. The highest tier, the $25 tier. Hello. Hello. The $25 tier is limited to just 10 people. And with that tier, as soon as it's full, we're going to start doing exclusive live streams. Hello. Exclusive live streams from Patreon for people in that tier. Just a kind of intimate, small gathering of people talking about different things, anything, doesn't matter. So be sure to check all that out, and now let's get on with the video. Hey you! Hey you! Hey you!
Hey you!
All right. Hey yo! What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to go over some more good news. I mean, Cambodia keeps cranking out the good news, and I'm happy to present it to you right here. But keep in mind that if you're a supporter of mine and you want to receive my exclusive videos, you'll hear it first, as my supporters did a couple days ago. The first one isn't going to apply to everybody, but I had the question and I didn't know the answer, but now I do, according to the government. And that was about bringing children over to Cambodia when you visit. What if I have unvaccinated children? What if they're less than 18 years of age and I want to come over? If I'm vaccinated and they're not, do they have to go in quarantine? What's the deal? What's the deal with that? And I didn't really know the answer, but now I do, according to the government. If you come over here with children under the age of 18, they will be treated the same as the parents or guardians that they come over here with. In other words, if the parents or guardians are fully vaccinated and children under the age of 18 are not, that's okay. They don't have to go into quarantine because the parents will no longer have to go into quarantine. If the parents come in unvaccinated and the children come in unvaccinated, then all of them will have to go into quarantine because the parents are not vaccinated. So that's the official ruling from the government. And for the few of you that have asked that, I hope that clarifies things a little bit. Whatever status you fall under is the same status your children under the age of 18 are going to fall under. And that was a very good question. So thank you guys for asking that. But let's get on to the good news. Previously, of course, you needed $50,000 worth of life insurance to get into Cambodia. You had to show it from a specific company, Forte Insurance. And while it is still recommended, it is no longer mandatory. Yay! You can save some more money by not having to purchase this particular kind of insurance just to get in. That's a pretty good thing. Keep in mind that this was just announced. It does apply to both vaccinated and unvaccinated visitors. So even if you're unvaccinated, you don't need the insurance any longer. And of course, if you're vaccinated, you no longer need the insurance. However, if you're unvaccinated, the other restrictions still apply. There is still a 14-day quarantine. There will still be a $2,000 deposit. And instead of getting one antigen test when you arrive, you will have to get that, then go to quarantine, and then before your 2 weeks is up, you'll get a full PCR test, along with the one you got before you arrived in Cambodia within 72 hours of arrival, stating that you're COVID negative before you can leave your quarantine. So a lot of extra steps if you're not vaccinated. However, again, if you are vaccinated, you get your PCR test 72 hours before arrival into the country. When you show up, they will give you an antigen test, and in 15 to 20 minutes, it comes back negative, you're free to go. Do whatever, go wherever within the country. So this is certainly good news, especially if you're vaccinated. And it's another step in the right direction. Cambodia getting their economy back on track, allowing visitors, allowing tourists. And hopefully really soon, and I've heard this from a lot of people, not everybody, some people don't mind getting an electronic visa. But the majority of people really want visas on arrival again, so they don't have to worry about getting a visa before leaving their country. That's going to be up to each individual how you feel about it. But currently, there are no business visas being issued either before you leave your country or upon arrival. And I'm hoping that changes again really soon. That seems to be the next logical step. Once they start getting the number of tourists, as the number of tourists go up, now that these initiatives have been set in place, I think that's the next logical step. Also, tourists who arrive in the country will not have to show proof of their vaccination necessarily to enter restaurants, malls, or other businesses. That was a sticky point with a lot of people. They don't want to carry their vaccine card around and prove that they're vaccinated to get into a business or a restaurant. And so the government has said you don't have to do that anymore. But here's the sticky point. Here's the rub, if you will, about that. I read a lot of comments. Actually, I read all of your comments. And I know a lot of people have opinions about COVID-19. They have a lot of opinions about vaccines. They have a lot of opinions about wearing a mask, doing this, doing that, about procedures in place to help protect the public. And that's fine. You can have your opinion. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but you can have it. And I fully believe that people have rights and they should be able to choose. The sticky point comes when people who say, well, This place is censoring me. This place is horrible. They're violating my rights because they won't let me go in because I didn't get a vaccine. I don't agree with that, because just as you have rights not to get a vaccine, these individual businesses have a right to refuse service. And I believe in everybody being able to exercise your rights. So absolutely, you have a right not to get a vaccine. But you have to be ready for the consequences of your choices and of your actions. And I also agree with individual businesses if they do not want people in the store without wearing a mask, without being vaccinated. That's their right. And I also agree with that. If you choose not to get vaccinated and you're not allowed on an airline, you're not allowed in certain restaurants or businesses, that's up to the business itself. And they have a right to do that, just as you have a right not to get vaccinated. But your choice not to get vaccinated has consequences. Anytime we exercise our rights, there are consequences. Some are good, some are not. But we have to take responsibility for those choices when we exercise our rights. I think we can all agree on that. So just because it says tourists will not have to prove vaccinations before entering businesses, malls, and things, that is still left up to the individual business. So if you come over here unvaccinated, you go through your quarantine, you put down your deposit, you go into a restaurant and they said, nope, you gotta scan this code or you have to show your vaccination card. I'm just saying, check your attitude, because that's their policy. But for the most part, that's the new rule. You don't have to show proof of vaccination before entering businesses or other establishments. But again, that is also up to each individual establishment. All right, that's all that's going on right now. Really nothing else. I'm feeling a few raindrops. It's gonna play. Yeah, looks like it's gonna rain a little bit. So I'll end this one here. I just wanted to let you guys know the new rules, what's going on. Oh, and one more thing I do want to mention. Keep in mind that just because these policy changes have happened through the government, and it was confirmed through individual government services and agencies, it's problematic here in Cambodia for information to get passed down to the people who actually have to perform these tasks. Such as visa agents, airport security, things like that. I have a friend who's on his way here, and when he was asked to show proof of his 4K insurance, which he had already purchased, so it wasn't a big deal for him, but he said, I don't have to anymore. They didn't know what he was talking about, unfortunately. Word has not yet trickled down, and that's about par for the course here. It takes a while for these rule changes to get fully passed down to the appropriate people. But don't let that put you off. Eventually, everybody learns, everybody figures it out. Alright, be sure to check out all my links down below. Like I said, if you want to help support us here, I really, really appreciate it. I love all my supporters. You guys are awesome. And just by donating, you'll be put on a list to receive weekly exclusive content, including at least one video just for you. And all the breaking news as it happens without having to wait for me to upload a video on my public channel. You can donate through PayPal, buymeacoffee.com, or join my Patreon. Check out those new tiers and get in on it before they're full. And all those links are down below. Links to my social media are down below. And be sure to check out my science news website. It's called SciThink. That link is down below. Science news at a glance. You can learn a little something. And by the way, I read all these articles myself from my website. So these are things even I didn't know until I wake up one day and I read it on a science website and say, oh, scientists did this. This is awesome. And I try to break it down for you in easy to understand terms. And then at the end of every article on my website, there's a link to the original article to go more in depth if it's something that interests you. And if you look on there, I just did one that talked about how exercise can help your body produce its own cannabis, and how good it is for you. So be sure to check that out. I also have links down below to other channels that are vlogging in Cambodia. Very good channels. Very worthy of your attention. So give them attention. And also down below are links if you want to buy a t-shirt. If you want to check out my Facebook page, Dave Does Cambodia, the link for that's down there. Feel free to give that a like. And join my group on Facebook called Bug Life. I love bugs, I love insects. Share your pictures of the bugs and insects wherever you live in the world. I'm always interested in looking at them. Alright, that'll do it for this one. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. And I will talk to you in the next one.